camera is rolling. Hello, so today I'm doing my first vlog. I'm also a blogger at Books for Birds and everything's going to be summarised down in the description, but I am absolutely terrible at editing, so this is all going to be done in one take and it's probably going to be absolutely rubbish when I put it up. But this is my January book haul for all the books I got in January. You can see just a very small pen. I didn't get that many books, so I'll just start off with the review books I got. I got 3 from Hotkey Books, which they're just an amazing publishing company in general, all the books I've read of them so far. And the first one was Finding Jennifer Jones by Anne Cassidy, which I'm halfway through, and so far it's really good. I haven't read her first book, which is Looking for JJ, but when I finish this I'm definitely going to get the first one. Then I've got Death & Co, The Mortal Myth by DJ McCune. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And the cover looks very interesting, so it does. And so what it says on the back really got me interested in the story. And I understand this is also the second book, so I will also pick up the first one in this series so I can just understand the plot a bit more. And the last book I got from Hotkey Books this month is I Heart Babe by Edith Bulbring, which is, it's quite a short book, and I think it's, yeah, it says on the back, drama, angst, love, hate. So it seems to be set in a bit of a diary style, and I'm really excited to read this. It shouldn't take me too long, so I'll probably start that later on, and my review will be up next week. And I got Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith from Electric Monkey, thank you for that, which also came with this awesome little puzzle that you have to put together. And on the back, let me just put the book down, stupid. On the back there are postcards, so they are, and they've got quotes from authors who've praised the book and quotes from the book itself. So I'll be sending those off soon to people. I'm not going to say who, it's going to be a surprise, but if you get one, then, you know, I was thinking about you. Anyway, the book sounds really, really interesting. I'm not sure if you could classify it as an apocalypse book. I can't speak today, I can't bloody speak. An apocalypse book, but it sounds really interesting. Slightly on the weird side, but a good dose of weird, it's always healthy. So I've read about 20-30 pages this so far, and it's quite an interesting writing style, I have to say. I've never read anything else of Andrew Smith. So I will be reviewing this next week as well. Okay. Also, I've really gotten into classics, and it was my birthday this month, for those of you who don't know. So obviously I got birthday money, and I had to buy a few books at least before putting the rest of my savings. And I got quite a few classics. Some of them I have already read, but I wanted to get them in physical form anyway. So I got Aesop's Fables, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift, and Mansfield Park by Jane Austen from Penguin Modern Classics. And I just love the classics because they always have such nice oil paintings on the front. And I love art, so that's always nice to see. And then from Wordsworth Classics, I got Kim by Rudyard Kipling. And I've only read one poem of his, which was If, and that was from our English GCSE anthology. But it was really nice after the long chats and debates going through it with our teacher. It was actually really nice. So I picked up this anthology of his to read through, which I haven't started yet, but again, I'm excited to read more of his works. Yeah, it's a him. For a second I was thinking it was a girl, but it's not. Then I got 2 Sherlock Holmes novels by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The first one is The Adventures and Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, and the second one is The Case Book of Sherlock Holmes and His Last Beau. So ever since I was young, I was kind of obsessed with Sherlock Holmes for some reason, even though I never read it or anything. So recently I was able to get all the films, the old ones and the new ones, which are up on my DVD shelf over there. which you can't see, obviously, and I finally was able to get the books. I've only read the first one, but so far it's really interesting. I hope I haven't said interesting too much. Okay, so as I said earlier, it was my birthday. I'm going to show you the other books I bought. I got Pawn by Amy Carter, which I've wanted to read for quite a while, and unfortunately I got declined an ARC of this, but you know, I don't mind, I've got the book now. Then I got Stormglass by Maria V. Sneeder? Okay, sorry again if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm really bad at this. Then I have 2 copies of New Girl by P.H. Harbinson, and the funny thing is, I didn't actually mean to buy 2 copies, because I went into the bookshop twice, because I didn't want to buy too many books because of the pile that I have over there. So I picked this up when I was buying 3 books, then I went back in and picked it up again, and I hadn't realised until I got home that I had 2, so I'm probably going to give one of these away at some point. But again, it's quite a short book, and it's sort of a crimey, sort of romancy thing, so it sounds interesting. There's that word again. Yeah, but it does sound interesting, and I can't wait to start it. I obviously haven't started any of these books yet because I'm trying to work through all my review ones first. And then I got Wake by Amanda Hocking, which I've also wanted to read for a couple of months now, after I came across, I think someone posted a quiz thing on Twitter, and I went on and I got this book, was my type or something. So ever since then I've wanted to read this, and I finally got it, and I think it's something to do with vampires or something. I have no idea whatsoever, but from what the back says, that's what I've gathered, and if it isn't, then, you know, well done for surprising me, but it's not that hard. Then I got Devoured by D.E. Meredith, and I've really gotten into sort of Victorian novels for the past couple of months, wanting, like, I've read Etiquette and Espionage, which is somewhere in this pen, which is set in the mid-1800s, and for the past couple of months I've trying to focus on those kind of books when I've been buying them, and this is set, it's another crime, and it's set in 1856. So I've read a couple of pages of this so far, and to be honest, it was a bit dull at first, but I'm getting through it, and it's okay so far, you know. Not outstanding yet. Just hit myself with the book. Okay, the next one is Unfed by Kirsty McKay, and I have to admit, I only bought this for the cover. I'm not a big zombie person, but I do like it now and then. I read The Dead by Charlie Higson, which is a zombie novel, and that was quite refreshing because I've never read anything quite like it. It was very gruesome though, which was, I don't know, it was okay. It was an interesting book, and I haven't read this yet, but it does sound decent. I'm being very diplomatic. I feel like I'm being diplomatic for some reason. And so at the back it says, they're back, and this time they're hungry. So I assume that means zombies. I mean, it says Undead was the first book, this is the second book, Unfed. So unless there's some sort of new breed of supernatural animal that I haven't heard about, then yep. Then, as I mentioned earlier, I've read Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger, which I also bought with my birthday money. I've seen this book before, I think it was about 2 months ago or something, and I had a look at it on Goodreads. Seemed quite interesting. It's also quite a short book. Like, by my standards, usually I read a 500-page book in a day, if I have the 10, so it's quite a short book, but it was also really, it was nice and refreshing. I mean, it's about this girl going to finishing school, and her parents think it's to send, well, her mother thinks it's so she can learn all the etiquette to be a proper lady when she does that, but it's also about learning different spy techniques and all that back, and like I said earlier, this is set in the mid-1800s, so that was actually quite brilliant. Yeah. Then I got Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne, And I saw Jack at the bookstop review this, and I've wanted to read it ever since. So of course, when I saw it sitting there in the bookshop, I just had to pick it up. And I haven't started it yet, but you may or may not know that I love all dystopian novels. You know, I just love them so much for some reason. I'm obsessed with them and I don't know why. So this one sounds, I don't know if it's dystopian actually. I think it is. But anyway, it sounds brilliant and I can't wait to start it. Then I got Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry, I hope I'm saying that right. I have read this before. I've read all Katie's books, but I don't have them in a physical form. They're all on my Kindle. So the reason I bought this was because Katie sent me a bookplate, a signed bookplate, and this little bookmark of Dare to You, which was excellent. So if you open the book, where is it? Oh, here it is. So it's signed now, which is really nice of her. So thank you for that. And lastly, I got Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, and I can't remember, someone recommended Tripping the Velvet to me, which I really liked. So I got Fingersmith because it sounds really interesting, and it's again, it's another novel that's set in the 1800s. And just one sec, these books keep falling. So yeah, it's set in the 1800s, and I'm about halfway through so far. And it's interesting so far. I'm not quite sure where the story's going. Maybe that's just me. And this book actually has a funny story to it. Sort of. I don't know if it's funny. But basically what happened was one day I was in my granda's car and we were dropping my granny off at the hairdresser's. And we had to sit in the car until she was done, obviously. And after that, we were going to go into town and I was going to go book shopping. And then I was just sitting there, you know, having a look up at the street, and then I looked down into that wee, you know, the alcove place when you're in the passenger seat in a car, and I looked down and there's 3 books sitting just beside my feet that I never noticed before. So I picked them up to have a wee browse because I'm nosy, and at the very bottom of the pile there was this book, this exact book that I was going out to buy that day. So I didn't actually have to go buy it at all, which saved me £7.99. And apparently this was given to my grandmother from the lady who works at the hairdressers, and then she gave it to me because she knew I wanted to read it. So, interesting story, don't you think? So that was my entire January book haul. If you liked the video and want to see more, always click that thumbs up button and subscribe. Bye. I'm gonna try to live it.